Sithole joins us now via Skype. So, Thabiso, I was just saying to Francis earlier on, she used the word cancelled, and I believe that Shinzo Abe used the term delayed. Which one is more acceptable given the circumstances?
Look, before I think we even get to cancel or delayed, we've been talking about the Olympic Games not going ahead for a long time now. And I think it was a matter of time before this decision was made when Canada announced that they're not going to send any athletes to this Olympic Games. And then on the back of that, Australia said their athletes should prepare for 2021. I think the writing was on the wall even long before that, Thabiso. When athletes start getting sick, our very own Cameron van den Berg, Olympic gold medalist, when he went on social media and announced that he had tested positive for the COVID-19 virus, it was a matter of time before this would happen, because I don't think that any country would want to send athletes to an Olympic Games or a country where they could catch the virus. Let's just put things in perspective, Thabiso. At any given time, the countries like the USA, countries like China, countries like Russia, although Russia was not going to Tokyo, they would send anything between 1,000 to 2,000 athletes. Now, 1,000 to 2,000 athletes, apologies, China, for example, the epicenter of the COVID-19 virus, one would say, would they send athletes? I don't think so. What would the Olympic Games be without America with 2,000 athletes? So already the talk of an Olympic Games going ahead this year was a non-starter in as far as how things stand.
And as you say, there have been a lot of powerful sporting associations who've been lobbying not only the World Health Organization, but trying to push the Japanese to reach this decision. And this is why I talk about the importance of the semantics. Shinzo Abe saying that he made the decision and Bach agreed. That's very interesting. And I'm wondering, is there a compromise in keeping the name, the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and Paralympics? Was this a compromise?
Look, I mean, the Olympic torch, Thabiso, is going to stay in Japan as it is. And I think the significance for them, as they're saying, is a beacon of hope, so to speak. Just to put a game into perspective, hosting Olympic Games, I think the cost of hosting the Beijing Summer Olympic Games in 2008, we were there in Beijing, SABC News sent a team down there. I think it cost China about $45 billion. Then you had the Winter Games in Sochi in Russia a couple of years ago in 2014. That cost Russia, I think, $50 billion. Then there were the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. SABC News again is there, all these games, and that cost the host nation about $20 billion. There was no talk, Thabiso, right now of how much or whether there will be returns to Japan for the money they spent. And where it is, they'd spent about $40 billion for these Olympics. It was expected to be the best Olympic Games as far as high tech was concerned. IA was involved. We were expected to see all these things we've never seen as far as Japan and everything they can do with technology. So there's a lot riding on this. And we were touching on the fact that will Japan get to host it by the end of the year or next year? Because I think somewhere down the line there was talk of you have to host within the year prescribed 2 years, because in a couple of years' time another country must host the Olympic Games. So in 2020, not 2020 rather, in 2024, Paris must start prepping for their Olympic Games. So there's still a couple of questions or answers I think a lot of sports journalists will be asking from the IOC on what happens now. Do we now move the calendar totally of the 4-year stretch? And if that happens, the knock-on effect is going to be huge, because that means Athletics World Championships will have to be moved. The FIFA World Cup soccer tournaments will have to move. There's a lot of moving pieces to hosting or cancelling an Olympic Games.
And of course, it is the first time in modern era that the timing of an Olympic has been impacted on except for a war. That is SABC sports anchor Thabiso Sithole. And we move on to netball very quickly. South Africa's